With Cardano's price consolidating over the last 2 days, people are getting a little bit jittery. Should I be buying? Should I not be buying? Well, I'm going to talk about today when some great buying opportunities are that I think will soon present themselves and how I would then be taking advantage of them. If you do enjoy today's video, you can let me know, of course, by smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you are new. And with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump straight into the video. So I personally believe that we are going to see a breakout very soon with ADA's price, whether it be up, whether it be down, not 100% sure, but I do know that the breakout is coming, in my opinion, within the next 48 hours. Now, let me explain why. Now, the reason I do believe so is because of the tool, the Bollinger Bands and the Bollinger Band Width. To make it as simple as I possibly can, we can start to anticipate when the price is going to start to see volatility based off of the width between the top and the bottom of these bands. Now, for example, in the past, you can see here that every single time that the Bollinger Bands would get to a certain width, this width right here, and of course, this is just a gauge. This is a representation of the distance between these two bands here. We can see that this served as strong support over the last few months, which then was followed by volatility. Volatility just means the bands themselves did spread out. The distance between them increased, which is why you see the line going upwards. Distance increasing, lines going upwards. Distance is decreasing. The lines are starting to close in and contract on each other. Okay. And so what we can see here is that we're starting to reach that very important level of support. Well, just yesterday or 2 days ago, we were all the way up here. So we're moving very, very fast. My anticipation is that within the next 48 hours, we will touch down on this important support level. And if history does repeat itself, as it has for the last few months, we will probably then start to see some volatility. Okay. So let's talk about where it may go from there. So currently speaking, we're seeing a few different things possibly playing out. Okay. The first one that I did notice is it looks like we may be forming a bit of a bullish pennant here. Now, this is what a bullish pennant looks like. Of course, we have the flagpole, the pennant itself, and then the breakout. And the breakout target, of course, is going to be the same distance from the bottom of your flagpole to the top of your pennant here. And so that's going to be a very similar formation to what we're seeing at the moment. If you do see here, we have this, very similar. And so obviously it's not 100% guaranteed that it's what we're going to see, but we could for sure anticipate that there is a chance that that is what it is. And we, of course, would then get confirmation by seeing the breakout to the upside. So let's talk about what that means and what we could be expecting in terms of if we do see a breakout there. Okay. Well, personally speaking, whenever we see big movements like these, when we see these big uptrends starting, I'm not buying that much, of course, because again, my last buy was down here. I haven't bought since $1.06. Okay. But with that being said, there are for sure good opportunities on the way up that can be characterized by structure. I never buy on a big wick like this, where it's just flying up for no reason. Never, ever. I do buy whenever we are creating structure, though, and then we can anticipate off of that structure that a breakout may happen to the upside, which I may then take advantage of to start to increase my position and things of that nature, of course. So what I would be doing personally, the only time I would be buying in terms of if this does go up, if the price is continuing upward, would be on the breakout of this bullish pennant right now. Now, personally speaking, since there is an all-time high not that far away, we're pretty close to it. There's going to be loads of resistance here, which can then be followed, of course, by the meeting of resistance and a continuation downward. So in order to protect yourself or to protect myself just from a trade of that nature, I would do one of two things. If we saw the breakout to the upside, I would for sure be looking to see if we can establish some support here, because what happens quite often when we do have such a strong resistance level as such as this one, we will start to see the price going up and up and up and up and up. It meets that resistance. We see a throwback into the apex of this triangle. Then we start to continue downward. Okay. That's one option. And so what I would be looking to see is that we go back, and if we can establish support here, not fall back into that apex, then continue upward, then that's my buy, that support establishment. Now, the second option that you can have, if you just want to try to buy it and hope that it's going to absolutely fly up, because sometimes the price doesn't come back to retest support, what you can do is, in my opinion, set a stop loss within the apex of this triangle. Basically meaning when the price falls back down into it, it will immediately sell it for you and mitigate all risk and limit as much loss as you possibly can. So if it does continue downwards, you are not looking at anything too bad. So those are the two options there. Those are the only two times that I would be buying if this thing does go upwards, because of course, buying on green candles usually isn't the absolute best idea ever. Okay. So now let's talk about what some of our different buying opportunities are if we do see the price go down, because there's about 3 or 4 levels that I would be comfortable buying all of. Okay. If this is going to continue upwards, of course. So the first one, of course, is going to be what we've seen over the last few weeks and the structure that's been being built. So what we talked about on stream last night was just how important the 0.5 retracement level has been over the last couple of weeks. So as we did see, the last time that we saw a leg up of this nature, and we saw this big extension to a pullback, to a retracement, we did see that it retraced back down into the 0.382 to the 0.5, our yellow box there. Well, one thing that would be fantastic for the healthiness of this climb is that we can start to establish and build that pattern and that structure to be very, very similar. So what I would be looking to see is if we can establish some support within this realm here, boom, within this realm here, that would be a fantastic buying opportunity in my opinion, because since we have established that as support in the past, there's a high likelihood we could, of course, establish it as support now. Now, there's still a chance that it crashes through it for sure, 100%, and it's not 100% guaranteed. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm trying to be justified. If we do believe that this is an uptrend, as I honestly do believe, and I think that the price is going to continue upward, I just want to have justifiable buying entries so that if the price does fall below here, I'm not emotional about this purchase and the fact that it's still going down because I can justify it with a reasoning. If you YOLO in and hope for the best and have no reason as to why you bought it, well, sure, you may see a little bit of FOMO. You might start to be like, man, or emotions just in general, like, man, I shouldn't have bought it there. But if I can give myself a justifiable reason as to why I thought that support would get established here, I can never be that mad at myself. Now, do pay close attention, though, that within this range itself is the $2 mark. So there definitely could be some support establishment there. So I wouldn't necessarily try to gauge this thing by the cents, $1.98 or $2, but definitely just this region as a buying zone and buying opportunity, number one, on when I think a great buy would be. Of course, guys, I'm not a financial advisor in any way, in any capacity, but I'm simply just a dude on YouTube. So please don't use this as your primary source of research. This is just another tool for you to make very rational decisions, okay? So the second buying zone or the second buying opportunity that I would be taking is that if we were to fall all the way through that zone that we just talked about, of course, where would it be there? So like, I'm actually going to go back a little bit just to give you exact price labels. So the bottom of that zone, that 0.5 is at $1.96, and that is going to be at the 0.5 again, and the 0.382 is represented by $2.03. So now let's go to buying opportunity number 3. So, of course, we did have the those two zones, 0.382 and the 0.5. Buying opportunity number 3 for me is going to be on our 618, on our long-term all-time high down to our recent swing low, of course, on July 19th. Now, this is going to be very important because as we have entered into the zone, this kind of dictates whether or not we're going to see a reversal or a retracement. Of course, retracement, as I've said so many times on this channel, a retracement looks like entrance into the zone. We may see some type of consolidation and continue downwards. That's typically dictated by the 786 to the 618. Or a reversal, of course, does look like we are able to clear it, establish some support either here or establish some support here as we may be doing, and then continue upwards. So this is a very important zone for the long term. And so with that being said, I would absolutely love to see that we can establish some support on the very bottom of this zone, which is at about $1.91. So we have that range from about $2.03 to $1.91 that, in my opinion, if we do see a fall back down into this area here, I would say that that would be a great buying opportunity because the amount of support that there is here is very high. But if we do fall below it, of course, do be wary that it will then serve as strong resistance as well. So, of course, there are those risks to any buy you do make. Now, the last buying opportunity that I would be looking for personally is going to be on our EMAs. Now, this is going to require us to go out to the dailies, and I want to show you guys some stuff from history just to kind of show you how important these areas have been. Well, if we look at the daily charts, one thing we do know is that in the past, on these big uptrends, that the EMAs have served as very strong levels of support to allow us to continue upward momentum. That's all what it's about. Could we be looking at a dead cat bounce right now in which we see something like this? Sure. We definitely could be. If we lose this level that we set on July 20th, that's for sure what we're looking at, in my opinion. But what I'm talking about is in the case scenario that we are seeing something like this, when could we be looking to set some great buys here? Okay. And so what we have noticed again is that in these uptrends, as I anticipate that we could still very possibly be in, that these 20, the 50, and the 100 EMAs have served very, very, very important levels of support. So what we'll see is that we'll get very extended off these levels. Let's zoom in real close. I didn't mean to do that. Let's go here, boom, and let's zoom in real close again. What we can see is that we'll get very extended off of these EMAs, but eventually we will revisit them. We go up, we revisit. We go up, we revisit. We go up, we revisit. And so personally speaking, I think an absolutely fantastic and my next buying opportunity is going to come off those EMAs. I'm just a little bit more patient. I can wait to see if the price does come back down at some point and retest one of these EMAs because it's shown in the past that it will at some point, and that is probably going to be the best and strongest level of support and the most justifiable point of entry that if we're going to fall, that we will still be able to bounce back from that fall. Okay. Just because we've done it so much in the past. Now, again, my buy was here though. So not buying here to buy here it makes a lot more sense for me. But if you want to get in the market as fast as you can, even though that may not be the best mentality, for sure, looking at some of those more short-term support levels can be just as important. But for me, on the long term, for sure, the next time that we touch these EMAs, I'm buying. Now, you may say, Tyler, what if the price falls through that? I understand that. Even if we do enter into a downtrend, I will never fault myself, and I'll never be mad at myself for making these buys right here, anticipating that we were still in a bull run, and because in thinking that it would do what it's done multiple times in the past. Okay. And so those are the levels in which I'm looking at. Again, we're looking for a few different ones, so definitely go check them out. But just for a short recap, we're looking at the 0.5 on the 4 hourlies. Whenever we do see this Fibonacci here, let's go ahead and get this pulled up. This Fibonacci here, we have a swing high down to our swing low. This zone that we can see right here is going to be very important, $2.03 to $1.96, with of course $2 being right in the middle of that. That's going to be zone number 1. Zone number 2, if we do see this thing fall, is going to be our swing high. Let's go here, boom. I'm on a new computer, by the way, so like the chart's a little bit of a different size. I'm not used to it. That's why I keep fumbling with it. But we can see off the swing high down to the swing low. Another very important level is going to be our 1.96, which is then represented by a price of $1.91. If we were to go ahead and lose that, the last level of supports that I'm starting to look at is buying on our EMAs. If we continue to fall downwards, our EMA is currently at the moment at about $1.66 and climbing every single day. And I would look to see that retest, boom, a bouncing off one of these EMAs in continuation upward. And I would for sure, even myself, be buying one of those EMAs. Now, again, if we do see this thing go up, I'm looking to see a very good breakout and a massive move off of this bullish pennant. But I would for sure pay very close attention and make sure that we don't run into too strong of resistance and that we don't see some big fake out to the upside. But again, I think that could be a great buying opportunity with some pretty good upside potential. Again, if we do take that, we take the distance here, we could think that on a typical pattern, on a typical pennant, we could be looking at prices of up in the $2.70 range. But again, we do have our all-time high sitting right about here, which we need to pay close attention to because that may start to falter. We might not be able to see it break out all the way before running into some resistance at that all-time high. So those are the times in which I would be buying. I would not just be randomly throwing money in right now. I would not just be hoping for the absolute best. I would for sure be looking, when can I make justified buying entries, and when can I expect that there may be an upward movement or a downward movement, and then capitalize on that from that point forward. So that being said, of course, if you guys did enjoy today's video, if you found it useful or helpful of anything of that nature, please let me know in the comments. Please smash the like button. Please subscribe. Of course, all of that does help the channel. It helps me grow. It helps me reach new audiences, and it helps me hopefully continue to grow this thing into something that I think could be absolutely amazing one day with one of the best communities around. With that being said, guys, that's going to be about it. Tune in tonight at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time for Gem Finders, where we start to look for some new amazing cryptos, and I hope to see you all very, very soon. Peace.